Welcome, everyone. I am so honored and thrilled and excited to bring back my friend, my mentor, my teacher, my soul sister in every way, shape, and form, Tina Marie. Thank you for being back here with me. And
Oh, I'm so glad to be here. It was funny because as you were saying that, I'm like, soul sister was just the thing that was like I'm feeling in my heart.
yeah, no, and it's been such a cool evolution of our process because I started as a student of yours and I've grown and learned so much. And one thing that I think is so powerful in this phase that we're in now is the importance of community, especially sisterhood. There's like these sacred bonds that we're seeing more and more that we're not here to do this alone, and that there's something so magical about coming together and sharing and learning and growing in this process, evolving,
Mhm.
sharing what's going really well and where we're feeling a little funky too.
Oh yeah, it's so needed, it's amazing for me working with so many people, but then going through my own process, obviously, as we all
Yeah.
are. And even though I know about community, sometimes I'll just see something that someone posts that's a colleague, a peer. You might post something, and
Yeah.
when I know what you're going through, I feel like, oh, like I
Yeah.
feel less alone.
Yeah.
It's like, oh wow, yeah, we're in this together.
Hmm.
Sometimes we forget and we just think, oh, or we don't know what it is that is happening.
Right.
And so we retreat and then feel like we're wrong, or we go through all that stuff in our head that our head loves to tell us, that our ego loves to, when it could
Yeah.
be something as simple as like, this is where I'm at, and being
Yeah.
supported.
I'm so glad you said that because it makes me think of how sometimes we can't even ask for permission for even just space until
Yeah,
we define what it is that we're going through.
right.
Like, this is why I'm upset, or this is why I feel chaotic, or this is why um, i'm I'm feeling depressed at this moment. Until we have that why, I
Right.
feel like we we don't lean in and reach out just on the feeling alone and saying, hey, there's some funkiness happening. Is it happening for you? Like, just
Yeah.
wanted to run that by you.
Yeah. And I think too, I know for me is sometimes I feel like a broken record, and it's
Yeah.
like, I can't share this again because what will they think?
Yes.
Or, oh, I'm supposed to be this teacher and this, and then what? And then the irony is when I'm authentic and I'm like, hey, I'm going through this too, as
Right.
I'm sharing,
Yeah.
it's me being where I'm at. And ironically, it helps me get through it because I'm giving it energy. Hey, this is what I'm still feeling.
Right.
And yet there's still that, should I share? Should I open up? Should I reach out? It's
Right.
so interesting.
No, and I feel that too. And I think it speaks to kind of the old model and the old way of
Mhm.
presenting this information of everything's great and we've evolved and we have all the answers and we're just in a moment of unraveling all of that.
Right.
Um, I know for me, it's been a period of really looking where I people please, where I feel like I have to
Yeah.
be something for someone else, or
Right.
show up in a certain way, um, and cater my business. Like, that was this year has
Right.
been an unraveling of my business because I realized, wow, I was compartmentalizing myself. I was looking at my clients and at my business as Meg Haines spiritual teacher, but there's also so much more of me that I've kind of pushed to the wayside just to fit into that role. And there's been so much unraveling of that, of the perfection piece, the
Oh
self-editing,
yeah.
it's just, and it's very vulnerable to share and expose, but at the same time, it's so liberating. And though that's when I know I'm really doing the work and that I'm really touching people, is because it's coming from such a real and raw place,
Right.
while not being while being mindful of, you know, the not going down the rabbit hole and taking everybody with me, but being mindful of the spiritual practice and integrating that in. But yeah, it's been a cool ride to just slowly open up and unveil and not have to hold on to the image anymore. Right. Although it's scary too.
Well, I think that's what it is like, you know, as a spiritual teacher, as, you know, a healer, sometimes people think, oh, we have it all together.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
You know, and what I'm realizing more and more is by sharing the moments of my mess.
Yeah.
Which, you know, could be part of my everyday experience in one way or another.
Right.
But then I get to work the tools that then I then teach.
Yeah.
And then others get to feel less alone.
Yeah.
By, oh, wow, I can look at it this way. And it all comes down to perspective, and it all comes down to being authentic. But I think the shift that I've been seeing over time, but more and more, is this honoring every experience, feeling, thought as just that, an experience.
Yeah.
There's all these shoulds and shouldn'ts. Yeah. Or, oh, like, I'm a fraud if I let people know that I'm holding on to anger. No, it's like, no, like that anger is rich. That part of me that's really triggered with it, it's like, that's juicy and rich. And it's like, yeah, let's go there. Let's not pretend.
Right.
I think that's what's happening. I mean, look what's happening in our world. Truths are being exposed.
100%.
And so it's like, wow, okay, so honoring all of that's coming up as the very tools that are helping us grow.
Right.
That are helping us see ourselves in a new light so that we can be more whole, not beating ourselves up for having a human experience. Because if you look around, even though we're spiritual beings, I'm in a human body. Yeah, right?
Well, and as you were talking, something really, like a light bulb went off of, you know, in sharing our darkness and going through our spiritual practice with it, we're helping other people to actually look at their darkness and to go through the process of bringing light and love to it. But when we're not owning it, when we're just in this love, light, fluffy place, there's so much, it's like, unless someone is in that state, they don't feel comfortable and they don't feel like they're allowed to be there.
Right. Yeah. And then there's this kind of, I feel like, misunderstanding. And I think even for myself too, like I work with the angels. I work with ascended masters, star beings every day. So then I'm supposed to be up in that energy all the time. Right. And it's like, okay, but again, that's no, I'm still in this body having this experience. And one of the most profound things that happened to me recently, and I'm glad it just kind of popped in as you were talking, because I've had a lot of darkness. I've had a lot of depression. And now I see it as so rich. Yeah. And I see it as sacred. And I have tools now to honor that sacredness. But I was in meditation and I was just really aligning with my soul, connecting with my angels. And I saw that by just being in it, by just allowing myself to be in that space, the fears, the darkness, even being afraid of, oh, is that depression going to come back and be as dark? I was able to see that they showed me, I'm the light in the darkness. I'm the light. You're the light. But we don't see it because we're just so not wanting to be in that darkness or that pain or that struggle. Right. And to me, that was like oh, wow, can I just hold myself here and be held? Yeah. Does that make sense? Because even as I'm saying
I just had like such an exhale.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm still kind of meditating on that because it's like, because we feel so alone in those times and we're like, where are my angels? I don't want to feel like this. Right. Right. And the irony is that, you know, we're searching all of these places and it's like, oh, wow, the light, it's right here. It's right at my heart. Right. I'm the light. And I just don't see it because I'm not looking in the right place. Right.
Well, and I love that you said your heart, because that's been literally, if I have one consistent practice right now, it's been breathing into my heart and just connecting to my heart center. And just expanding there and opening myself to receive, because I just feel like the doors are opening for all of it. We're being cracked wide open right here. And so,
Yeah.
but it's the one place where I feel I can connect back home to that light, to that peace,
Yeah.
to the joy that's already here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's being in that space of listening, of receptivity, of aligning with your heart.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very, I want to say it's a very special time, even
Yeah.
though I've been saying so much it's intense. I mean, it's intense. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going through so much transition and change.
Yeah.
And it can be scary. And I sometimes get into that, when I just
Yeah.
start to see everything happening. And then it's like, okay, how can I recharge and how can I really connect?
Yeah.
Not only to the angels, but to Mother Earth. Like, what do you need from us? How can we come together? Because I was even saying, I think yesterday on a live, like energy leaves an imprint wherever it goes. So
Right.
when we're in a space where we're seeing each other as separate, when we're not
Yeah.
honoring each other's differences, whether we believe something or not, and
Right.
we're in all of that space of anger and unforgiveness, that energy is going down into the earth.
Right.
Now, again, it doesn't mean we have to be perfect, but when we can honor it and be just in the intention of working on it and healing,
Right.
that's a whole different space than staying in the anger and the separation. And so I believe that we're really all being prepared.
Yeah.
Anyone listening to this, anyone on this light worker, love worker path,
Yeah.
I believe we incarnated for a very specific time
Mm-hmm.
here, right now. And there's going to be so much to come where all of this is going to, I don't know if it's going to make more sense, but we're going to be able to help in ways that are unique, that maybe haven't been done before. Because
Yeah.
I don't know about you, the old way doesn't work anymore.
No, and we were talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
We've been talking about that for a while, actually. When I think back on some of the conversations we've been having, is my internet going in and out, or is it good?
This happened last time too. Oh,
I
now
know.
it's back.
It
But
always.
it happened last time.
I know. I
Start talking about that big stuff.
kind of knew, kind of prepared myself a little bit that
Mhm.
the matrix might glitch a little bit. Um, no, but there's this, and I know you did a really beautiful conversation about this, and I'd love for you to share a little bit more about, because I know so many of us are hearing. Is it still being glitchy?
A little bit.
Yeah, it's so weird. All right, we'll just keep going. There's so many teachers that we looked up to and that we admired, and we also have to remember that everybody's evolving, and they're evolving in their own way, and sometimes what they're evolving into doesn't resonate with us, but yet we've looked up to them. So there's this, what do we do with that? It doesn't feel right, but I'm trying to make it fit. So can you speak to that piece a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think we're going to be seeing more of it, of people, that, well, we're already seeing a lot of people are angry and kind of going crazy. A lot of people are deciding, hey, I'm checking out, I'm going to leave my body. And then there's those of us that are kind of like, what is going on?
Right.
And so what's happening, I truly believe, is that we're being asked to go inward. We're being asked to trust our own inner guidance system.
Yeah.
And you can feel the vibration of truth.
Yeah.
And it's not about, teachers and mentors are wonderful.
Yeah.
But it's separating the teacher from the teaching,
Mm-hmm.
for one. And then it's, maybe you don't vibe with it anymore, but rather than get all upset, just say, okay, wow, that's actually beautiful.
Yeah.
To know, what, that doesn't feel right to me anymore. So, I bless you on your path, but I'm not going to be a follower, because it's not about being followers.
Right.
It's how does this serve me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I'm going to step into my power and trust what I'm getting and feeling.
Yeah.
And I think people are just having a really hard time because they're not trusting themselves.
Yeah.
And they're not going inward. And it's like this teacher and this book, and those are all great,
right,
as avenues or ways. but they're all leading each one of us to really trust how it's going to come through me, how it's going to come through you.
Right.
And really honoring that. And if you think about it at another level, some of these teachers changing, they're still teaching us.
Right.
If we're triggered and we're like,
Absolutely.
how could that happen? Well, then just looking in, like, why are you triggered?
Yeah.
Maybe, and I do think, that some people are, maybe going backwards.
Yeah.
That's just my perspective. But then that also tells me, okay, I believe we're in a time and space where there's more expansion.
Yeah.
There's more unity and oneness,
Mm-hmm.
not going the opposite way of constricting and it's my way or no way, and this
Yeah.
is the right God and this isn't the right God.
Yeah.
That's such the old paradigm.
It is.
So I would just, that makes me a little cautious,
Mm-hmm.
but then it's like, all right, I honor that, but I'm going, I'm following this.
Right. Well, and I think it's so liberating, and I'm glad you said that, and I'm glad you had that conversation. If you guys haven't heard it, you can go on Tina's page. I'll link everything below so you can go back to that video. But we've been taught to look externally to the people above us for the answers, for the wisdom, for the guidance. And while everybody can offer us guidance and wisdom, it's really just lighting up the wisdom within us.
Right.
It's like we have that same wisdom.
Right.
And I see it now even doing, because my work is shifting and changing, but I've been called, and I felt really strongly the last couple months to be teaching the intuitive work again. Just because I see so many people not trusting themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And when they do, like we just had our last class, and watching them all really tap into that and give each other wisdom and guidance and feedback. And I mean, I was brought to tears because it was just this awakening of, oh, it's always been here. And I have this gift, and I don't need a certification, and I don't need like all this other stuff. It's already here. And it's just a matter of me continuing the practice of tapping in and trusting that it's there.
Yeah, exactly. And knowing that sometimes you're going to feel off and sometimes things are going to feel out of that. But rather than getting all upset by it, that's giving you an opportunity to come back and remember and then go deeper. And, we're in the time of the age of Aquarius, which is the divine feminine.
Yes.
I mean, it's just a known fact. That's where we are. And the feminine is, and as I was showing you earlier, my picture of the little turtle slowing down. Like another little angel here, nurture. Receptivity, that was the other card that jumped out.
Receive.
So that's the divine feminine. It's the intuitive, it's the quiet, it's the still, it's the going inward.
Yeah.
And then, really, like we said before, having a community where you can just be.
Yeah.
That's what I think that's my biggest struggle, ironically, because I don't know if it's because I'm an Aries or just whatever, but I'm always the doing. And that's when I get tripped up.
Yeah.
Because we're being asked to be in that being.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That stillness.
Mm-hmm. No, and you and I were talking about this even before. We had actually an amazing, I should have just pressed record right when we got started. But we'll circle back. So we were talking about how doing is our comfort level for all of us. It's what we know. And in this space of being, because the divine feminine is coming in, where and all of those things that you talked about, community, truth, nourishment, presence, grace, ease, all of that, like those are her sacred invitations to us. But what happens is we have opened ourselves up to allow some of it in, but then we cap it and say, okay, well, I had enough space, or, oh, okay, well, I did enough being, now I have to go do something. And it does us such a disservice, especially in these times of transition, because you and I have been talking about how there are days when we just feel so tired, and it keeps going longer than we feel it should, but then we feel the pressure to, get back and start working again, and that we're not fully allowing ourselves to be where we are.
Right. Yeah, I even caught myself doing that this week, and I realized even now as we're talking, so thank you, I'm having a little
Yeah.
aha that when we're doing, we're in control because we can
Right.
control the doing.
Oh,
And
so good.
so when we allow ourselves to be, then it gets to this place of like, we're so not used to trusting in that, even if we're being called. And the irony for me is this week, I was trying to do, like, I couldn't even focus and do, like, and I didn't even realize that that was the message.
Right.
I even said to Billy, I'm like, I know that for 3 days there's stuff everywhere, but like, I just keep circling around it, trying to do it and organize it. And I can't even do it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, wow, maybe I should listen. But yeah, it's, we tend to get in our own way with that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and it's funny, even yesterday I had a friend call me, and I could just tell that there was this space that needed to be held.
Mm-hmm.
And my first initial ego response was, I kind of had things to do that I should be doing.
Right.
And then this even bigger voice came in that was like, the only thing you need to do is be right here with her and hold this space. And just the surrender of that, and of like, I'm just going to be all in right here. That was so life-giving and so beautiful and so precious, because and even after that, I don't even remember what I was supposed to do. It's like my to-do list right now is so long, I don't even know what's on it. But being and holding that space with someone else, and sharing and surrendering to that, it's just where we need to be, And then I switched it up a little bit. I started playing the piano just to get my creative energy flowing, because I had to teach. But it was a day that just felt so smooth and so free flowing, just because I surrendered to being wherever I needed to be in each moment, rather than feeling the expectation of doing something.
Mm-hmm. I had a day like that Monday myself. And I was watching myself give myself permission to be, whether it was my meditation and just having a freedom of it. Didn't have to look any kind of way or be any kind of time. And I was just watching that very, that space of relaxing and, being outside, and then, moment by moment. And it felt so freeing.
Yeah.
And then I was so inspired, and it's like, this is the formula, but it's like, and then the new day comes and it's like, well, I have to do, so it's so interesting. But you touched on something that I think is important I really believe everyone out there that is even remotely awake on this spiritual path.
Yeah.
I feel we are holding the space, obviously for our clients and our loved ones. We're holding a really deep space for humanity right now, because we're part of the awakening. And if you're any slightly bit empathic or sensitive, you're feeling not only the cries of Mother Earth, but you're feeling on some level the struggles, the people that don't, and so I truly believe, like, sometimes in our sleep and dream time, I know I'm going off and doing things that I'm like, I need to start writing it down. But that's also why we're tired, because we've accepted that role.
Yeah.
We just see it, because if we just see it as you with your client or your friend, but it's bigger than that.
Yeah.
It's really bigger than that. So when we can honor that we're doing this sacred work, even in ways we don't even realize, that's a really beautiful thing. And we do need that rest. Yeah. As a result.
Sorry, I heard you. I think I froze in a weird pose, but I just, you saying that, I feel everyone listening gets to just deeply exhale on that, because there is this, I think, collective feeling of, I need to be doing more. and not actually, but I'm so tired, and I'm low energy, and I'm not inspired. And we really have to, like, this time, in order to hold that amount of space, we really also have to hold the space for ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And be unapologetic about what that looks like.
Right. And I think to go even a step further, and this is hard because, with that perfectionist part, give ourselves credit,
Yeah.
give
Thank you.
ourselves acknowledgement, because the other element that's coming up for me too is, other women, men that are working on themselves.
Yeah.
You're not just doing it for yourself. You're doing it for someone that maybe doesn't have the strength that you have to overcome that darkness.
Right.
Maybe someone, and when you work on yourself, that creates a beautiful ripple effect that's being sent out to someone on some level.
Right.
That they're receiving maybe something they didn't even know or realize, but it gets them through the day.
Yeah.
And then I think too, our ancestors that came before us, I think we're clearing some of their karma and energy again by being here in all of this seeming craziness and feeling all over the place at times.
Yeah. I know you've said that before, but it came up again too. So can you talk even more about like our ancestors and our lineage, and how that still affects us now, and how we're in the process of healing and releasing?
Yeah. The way that I see it is that in prior years and lives, there maybe the people that came before us weren't able for whatever reason to have a voice, to persevere through something significant. Maybe it was at a time where they may have even died in a way where they didn't get to fulfill something.
Yeah.
And that energy is tied in where we've said, hey, I'm going to go and I'm going to, align, because we're all one, right?
Right.
And I'm going to clear that not only for myself, but for, those that came before me.
Yeah.
And so it's actually really quite beautiful to see it in that way. But to also, that's why you want to give yourself credit that you may not remember, but you chose to not just do this for you.
Yeah.
It's for this lineage of people who are connected in one way or another to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's really beautiful. Thank you for explaining that too, because I know we also have our past lives and our karma that we're working through and healing and releasing, and even I've noticed in a couple of sessions I've been doing recently that it's like all our former selves are, every time that we show up for us, and we show up authentically, and we truly honor our hearts and the kind of lives that we want to create, and we honor ourselves in those moments, it's like we're healing them too.
Right.
Because they didn't get to fulfill their purpose, or something happened where they were persecuted for speaking their truth. So when we speak our truth, it releases them too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And, it's interesting because I know you do so much of the divine feminine work also.
Yeah.
And the other element that keeps coming forward in a lot of my personal sessions, meditations, that I'm either leading or that are personally for me, is this energy of the goddess.
Yeah.
Which is the divine feminine, and they can come through in different ways. They're really coming forth for us as women.
Yeah.
To not only be in our power, but what's interesting I'm seeing is they're saying, you have to step, we don't just hand you your power. You need to claim it. You need to step into it and claim it.
Yeah.
You need to treat yourself as that high priestess and as that queen and as that goddess. But we don't tend to do that. And so I see, and it's very ancient energy very often. And I relate to so many of the different goddesses and traditions. But it's really all the same energy.
Yeah.
But they're really coming forth more than ever.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting and cool.
But I love that piece about, we can't just hand it to you. You have to claim it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to claim it, accept it, step into it. And
Yeah.
I've seen them in a few different meditations. I led someone through a past life thing, and it was so cool. I even asked her after, I go, can I talk about this? Because this was great. I go, these goddesses, I've been to Egypt, and so I remembered many of my past lives there. And so it seemed like a temple like that. And these goddesses were dancing around my client as I was leading her through this process, but it was very ceremonious. It was and they would like place a veil on her head, or they were just doing things, but they were unraveling, like we were talking about before.
Yeah.
And what I saw, it was like unraveling the layers of whatever we've put there that's kept our power in, kept our intuition in. And that's why they were moving around. They were chanting. It was so beautiful. But then at the end, it's like we had to receive it, or like, she had to say, oh, like, remember, this is who I am.
Yeah.
And then as they flowed around, it's like they stepped right into her, because it was that oneness.
Yeah.
That's around and available when we can embrace it and step into it. And they're there to help us, but they're inside. Like, again, it's that inside job.
Right. And I had chills when you said that, of just the coming together. And it's actually really funny that you say that, because I did a group circle and I saw this gold temple and all these goddesses around. They weren't doing anything. They were just standing there. But as you were saying that, I had to point that out, because that was it was a new image for me that I had seen before.
That's so cool.
So there's some interweaving there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we've been high priestesses in other lifetimes, where that's that healer, that intuition, that power, that grace.
Yeah.
And whether it's Isis or Mary Magdalene or Mother Mary or Aphrodite, or, I mean, there's so many.
Yeah.
It's still all just the qualities
of
us to remember, oh, that's me.
Yeah.
And today I need to let my hair down and just, be more sensual. And maybe the next day I need to retreat and just be more nurturing.
Yeah.
But it's all leading us, to align with that feminine, because that's going to help balance the energy of not only us, but the planet.
Right. Because we've just gone, we're not even in the divine masculine. We've gone beyond that to a really extreme level, where even that energy needs to be balanced. And the only way it can be balanced is through the feminine. So
yeah.
Very
Absolutely.
cool.
Yeah.
So what has been like an anchoring support for you during these times of transition, when the energy is shifting? What is kind of I may have asked you this in the last one, but sometimes our practice changes. So what has been your kind of go-to centering, grounding practice?
It definitely changes. But I really have been trying to give myself space to feel what I need to feel and let it out. And so sometimes that's the first part, whether it's something on the news, whether it's, I love, and I will always choose the beautiful perspective, but sometimes, you have to say, all right, I'll have the beautiful perspective tomorrow. I just need to be in this.
Right.
Because some of the things that we're seeing, it's just like, it shatters you. So I allow myself to feel that. Sometimes I even write it out. Sometimes I shout it out. Sometimes I cry, but I give myself that sacred, space to do so. And then, being a Kundalini yoga teacher, that's really helpful, because there's a lot of breathing meditations, chanting, movement, so that I can help move the energy through my body.
Nice.
So that can be helpful too. You'd be surprised, even just chanting something for a few minutes and then sitting in stillness. It's like, oh, wow, I've just created this beautiful space. Now I'm sitting in the sound current. And, oh, wow, I've just returned home to that center.
Yeah.
And then sometimes there's things that I actually listen to that really help me feel my soul.
Yeah.
Whether it's a podcast or a meditation. And at the end, though, I really try to give myself silence. Because, and timing it. Sometimes I have to make myself do it, but I think that it's important, because, just a few minutes isn't enough. Something really shifts and changes, because this chatter, if you just sit with it and breathe and feel, something shifts and changes. And then you can be in a different space
Right.
where you can feel, and I'll fill myself up with light, and I'll just be visualizing light,
Yeah.
and connecting to the earth, and then sometimes just talking to my angels.
Mm-hmm.
So I know it's a bunch of different things, but it's just whatever I feel like I need
Yeah.
at that particular time.
But I think it's so great because it speaks on many levels to you allowing yourself to receive um, where you are and what's coming through for you, rather than moving on to the next moment. So what, like, instead of getting to the love, like we choose love and we and this is an opportunity for us. This is a moment of just feeling, like, let's feel the darkness, let's feel the anger, the pain, the sadness, all of it that's wanting to move through us. How's my internet? Is it going?
Right.
Are we good?
I still
Okay.
hear you, but it was going. I think we're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is what happens, guys, every time. And it's not by
every
accident.
time.
It's not by accident.
Oh no, not at all.
But
Not at all.
also
It's
even in the
sort of talking
meditation.
about this higher energy and getting into this. I like that you said make it.
Oh wait. Are we back?
Yes.
Okay. We're good?
I think so.
Okay. All right. I feel like there's a delay.
Not anymore. There
Okay.
was.
All right.
I think we're
Cool.
going in and out.
All right. Wonderful.
Oh,
But the other piece that you were talking about too was not capping the meditation, like giving some space after that to receive even more.
Yeah.
Oops.
Can you still hear me?
Yep, I can still hear you.
Okay. Because it came on and it said
Internet is
unstable.
stable. It said it for me too.
But I'll just keep going.
Okay.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that space, the space is what I just think is everything that's so important,
Yeah.
because it's in that space that you can really listen and feel, and it's all about being in receptivity.
Yeah.
We get to fill ourselves up with that light. We get to connect with our angels, or if that's not our reference, then the energy of our higher self, or the energy of that light. And when we're in that space, that's when where it is creation. And that's how we come into alignment with it, so that we know what that next step is. And the irony is, even for me, I'm embarrassed to admit, sometimes, like, I don't want to go. I'm like, why don't I like that? Because when I make myself do it, it's like, wow. So now I know when I don't want to go there, I need to be there.
Yeah.
I need to be in that quiet and in that space, and then just really feel and listen without expectation.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. It's the same thing with community. Like, once you allow yourself to lean in, you're like, oh, it feels so much better to be held than to be struggling by myself with this.
Yeah. And I think it comes back again to the control. To sit in that silence, you have to really be with yourself.
Yeah.
You have to allow that vulnerability and that openness. You have to really love yourself enough to just be held and hold yourself.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're doing, you can control it, like we said before.
Right.
And the mind wants to go to that. Oh, well, you have to do this and you have to do that, because it wants to get you away from that.
Right. And if you think about it, how awful is it to just be with you? Like, it's beautiful.
Right.
It's so loving. Why wouldn't we just want to sit in stillness with ourselves?
Yeah. And kind of like before, when I said in my meditation, one of the other things that always comes up when we feel like, oh, like, why is this happening in life? Or, I've even, felt like, oh my God, am I being punished, or am I being tested?
Yeah.
Or where are my angels now? You know, we just start to think, well, you know, where are they? When I've realized for me, I'm the one in all my doing that's not, once I sit there in that stillness and feel and
Right.
allow, I'm the one abandoning myself.
Right.
They're not abandoning me.
You're
I
like,
just,
hey.
they're like, oh, you know, but the beauty is there's no judgment.
Yeah.
Every time they're like, welcome home.
Yeah.
We're always here for you to just remember and be in this space. And it may look different and may feel different times, but welcome home, you
Yeah.
know?
That's really beautiful. Have there been any repeating messages you've been getting from your angels or guides right now?
Um, it's really in kind of what we've been sharing,
Yeah.
that things are really in transition and unclear for a reason, because it's creating a space to help in the slowing down and in the trusting,
Mm.
to allow the full vision to, you know, become manifest.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I keep getting, and then I forget, is, you know, we're you know, me too, we're being prepared.
Yeah.
We don't realize that. And there's a lot of preparation happening behind the scenes for what is to come for us personally and collectively.
Yeah.
And so it's just knowing it may not be happening in the time frame that you want, and it's definitely not a time frame I want, but I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
rather than fight it, how can I trust into it and, you know, just be?
Yeah.
And that's a practice in and of itself.
It is. But I love that message. I think it's so beautiful that the unknown is unknown for a reason,
Hmm.
because it's building a resolve within you. It's building that trust within you. We have to slow down,
Yeah.
because for so many of us, and you and I right now we've been in this transition where the next evolution of our work is not yet clear, but while there's nuggets and downloads, the full picture hasn't come into view, hasn't come into place. And I think a lot of people are seeing that whether they're entrepreneurs or just in their lives. There's a lot of unknown, and the unknown is always, for our ego, certainly very scary.
Right.
But I think if we can trust that, and this is just what I've been doing too, is the surrendering of, I've always been taken care of, and I will know when I need to know.
Right.
And so I'm just staying open.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful practice to just keep coming back into alignment with that.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really the big word, is the practice part of it, because
Yeah.
I feel like we get it and then we just have an expectation,
Mm-hmm.
and then beat ourselves up if it doesn't look a certain way, where it's like, it's just that constant practice
Right.
and being gentle with ourselves along the way.
Yeah. Or something external happens that makes us feel like we need to figure it out.
Right.
And and just getting back to that heart, that heart chakra, and opening and trusting that, whatever's happening externally there's a divine solution for that, and it will come, and it's coming. And um this year I've had so many external reasons to go into freak out mode,
Yeah.
like and I have, for sure.
Right.
But at the end of the day, everything's been taken care of.
It's interesting, right?
Yeah.
Because it is true. It is always taken care of. So it's always
Yeah.
such a nice reminder to say, I'm being provided for.
Yeah.
The universe always provides.
Yeah.
I'm exactly where I'm meant to be.
Yeah.
And just holding that space for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I
love that. And I wanted in that same video, you talked about Mother Earth, and
yes.
I know I'm feeling her too. And is there anything that, for those of us listening, anything that we really need to hear and receive so that we can be kinder stewards to her and really nurture and support and take care of her?
Yeah. The first thing that comes up is it's actually kind of a sutra in Kundalini Yoga. But remember that the other person is you.
Mm.
And that's really huge because that affects the earth. And then, Billy said it yesterday in our live and I loved it. He said, remember you are Mother Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So just as the way we're each other seeing that oneness, that we're all playing roles in our lives to help us awaken and know even more deeper who we are, we also, have not only a connection with the earth, but um, it is who we are,
Right.
just as much as we're the cosmos.
Right.
But her in particular, it could be if there's physical things people want to do, like I try to when I'm walking, bless the earth with my feet and just,
Yeah.
honor her. Whereas years ago in my meditations, you're so quick to like go to the upper chakras. Now I always start with the earth.
Yeah.
Because we have an earth star chakra. So I start there and just
Yeah.
really not only anchoring there, but anytime any healing comes in, just sending it to her.
Right.
Or
That's
sending it down
beautiful.
and drawing that up. And, things like, the physical things or things like recycling or being
Yeah.
mindful of that kind of energy. And just being more conscious and aware.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and that's what I think Billy said yesterday. He goes, when you pollute the earth, would you do that to yourself? Like,
Yeah.
how
Well,
can we?
I think on some level we do
I know.
with our thoughts and with
Yeah.
the toxins that we ingest and take in. And so it's actually quite mirroring to see
Yeah.
that.
Isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah. But I truly believe the more that we can really come together,
Yeah.
and I've said it before, but one of my teachers in India said this, and it always strikes me every time. He said, Tina, the only difference between you and me is that I see only one of us here.
Mm.
And it's like, and it's the same concept of, that we're one.
Yeah.
And yeah, there are challenges and there's people going crazy, and
Right.
we have to just say, okay, well, where do I have that craziness?
Right.
As this is being triggered and this makes me so angry that this person can do that, how can I heal within myself what I'm seeing and hold the
Right.
space of divinity?
Yeah.
And all of that elevates the vibration,
Mm-hmm.
because one with God is a majority, one with love is a majority. So
Yeah.
that means that is always the winning energy. It's always the higher vibration,
Yeah.
and so just, honoring that, and that makes a difference, to her and to everyone actually.
Yeah. And to ourselves, because it
Mhm.
is painful to carry that level of hatred and anger and judgment around for other people.
Right.
And I see it just everywhere, and especially like on my news feed, which is not really on my news feed that much because I've really been conscious of clearing that out, but just pain doesn't heal more pain.
Right.
And there's just such a I think of it, do you remember in the 90s it was like GAC? It was like this
Yes.
really sticky, like Nickelodeon, like silly putties, but it like with stick. I just
Mhm.
feel like there's like GAC wars happening where we're all just like throwing this sticky like goo on each other rather than taking ownership and responsibility of, you know what, I'm not going to pick this up and throw it.
Right.
I'm going to put it down, and I'm going to look at the part of me that is activated by that, activated by
Yeah.
what I'm seeing.
And you actually, well, we all always deserve and need to give ourselves more love,
Mm,
not less, and
yeah.
others more love, and not, because that's
Right.
what it constantly comes back to.
Right.
And you cannot like what's happening and feel, but then still have the intention of being in a space of love.
Right. Well, and also to remember that people have found community and found um, a sense of belonging to
Mm-hmm.
something. And
Right.
so the more that you push against them, the more they cling to that sense of belonging wherever they are, even if
Right.
it's a really dark place.
Right.
And so when you just open your arms, you invite them to not cling so hard.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. People are so clinging, I believe, to their beliefs.
Yes.
And that's what's causing a lot of problems,
Mm-hmm.
because it's hard to be open to it's possible that these beliefs don't serve me,
Yeah. Yeah.
and can I zoom out and just see this from a different perspective,
Right.
you know and I love that you said that, people are clinging, and it's in that surrendering and that letting go,
Yeah.
which it can feel scary,
Yeah.
but it's like that's what we need to lean into.
Right. And as you and I know, and those who are on the spiritual practice, we've had to challenge those beliefs, and
Right.
we've had to face them and then face ourselves, and but every time we do that, there's such a freedom.
Mm-hmm.
It's more freeing than it is fearful. Um, but when you're not there yet,
Mm-hmm.
it's very hard to let go,
Right.
especially for people who are older, because it's like, I think their beliefs are all that they feel they have. It's their
Right.
sense of identity. It's their sense of self. And so to abandon that, who are they then?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's huge.
Yeah. So having compassion
I was just
there,
going to say that.
you
Yeah.
know?
And I think too, having compassion, and especially non-judgment. I feel like the older I get and the more that I experience, it's like, who am I to judge
Yeah.
really anything? Because I can go back to various points in my life where I was in that circumstance.
Yeah.
I was in a structured religion. I was in, and so it's like, how can I say, oh, you need to change? I was there, so it's
Yeah.
honoring that and having the compassion,
Right.
and that creates an opening.
Yeah.
And just that person's path is their path.
Yeah.
And I don't know on some soul level how that serves me by having the compassion and honoring where they're at.
Yeah.
And even if I'm triggered, then I'm learning and I'm growing. Even if
Right.
I'm triggered and I'm trying to have them, well, why do I need them to
So
believe what I
good.
believe?
Yeah.
And like, oh, wow. So that's, so when we can see it in that way, that
Yeah.
person's my teacher. They're serving a purpose.
Yeah.
Maybe that was my soul contract with them,
Mm.
you know?
Yes.
So, I realized even with my family, who I love and adore, but how family always triggers you or triggers
Yep.
us. Every time that I'm getting triggered, it's because I'm expecting my family to be someone other than they are.
Yeah.
And then it's like,
Oh,
why can't I just accept them?
right.
Why am I trying to change who they are? Because I changed,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So it
That
always
is
comes
big.
back to us, right?
Yeah, it does. It does. But even that sentence, I know, is going to free a lot of people of just
Mhm.
expecting them to be who I think they should be rather than loving them for where they are.
Right. Yeah. So then when I'm annoyed, it's not, it has nothing to do with them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
you know?
Um,
So it's good stuff.
I cannot thank you enough for having this conversation and for sharing the raw and real and beautiful truth behind what's really going on. Because I think it gives people permission to breathe, to relax, to surrender, to know they're not alone,
Right.
to feel a sense of belonging
Yeah.
and support. And that's why I want to have these conversations, because if we're isolated in the feeling of I need to have it all figured out, or I need to be perfect, or I need to get through this healing, this process and be healed already. We hold ourselves back from receiving so much that's there.
Right. Oh yeah. And it all comes back to just authentically being where you are and knowing that that's sacred,
Mm-hmm.
and not judging it.
Yeah.
Because I know that's what I tend to do. I can be so hard on myself, and just, leaning into the vibration of trust, because like even this morning, in the last few mornings, I woke up and was just like, and how beautiful we had this like I've been excited to connect with you, but I woke up and I was like, oh, okay, I need to do this and that. And then it's like, no, I just need to connect with her and be.
Yeah.
And look how beautiful, like things just shift.
I know. We had there was no map, no plan.
No.
Just sharing. So
yeah. And it's exactly what I needed. It's like, okay.
Same.
So I can feel the way I felt earlier. And then I show up and I'm just being me, connecting with you, and like, how interesting.
Yeah.
And there's kind of parallel what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Shift like that when you're just in the moment, showing up and being.
And doesn't it feel, I don't know about you, but I get excited about it, and I'm in the joy and the flow rather than the pressure of, okay, what am I going to talk about? What's it going to look like? How am I going to navigate? What if there's a dead space in conversation? Instead of getting myself all worked up, it's like, I can actually just be here and have fun with you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
again, this
is
our real conversation anyway. This is just you and I having tea, but not having tea.
Yeah.
Over Zoom.
I love it. I used to have a radio show and I'd get so nervous and I'd put notes out, and it was just like, because it was like so that same kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then once I just could be me, it's like, oh, okay, I just need to relax in this flow.
Yep.
I feel like, I know for myself, I feel like I always, like you were saying before, of, playing the roles of who you need to be for something or someone.
Right.
That's what it's like, and that helps me. And whenever I'm nervous, that's the one thing that helps me. I teach a lot of Kundalini yoga now, and sometimes because, for some reason and I just say, I just need to show up and be myself. Yeah. And I tell myself that on the drive over. And then when I sit there, and it's like, and it's so freeing.
Yeah.
Who do I think I need to be, putting this pressure on myself. And then when I am, it's received because I'm in that authentic place.
So huge.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's still an unlearning happening in the process. So I would just say to everybody watching, when you catch yourself showing up in the old pattern, or you catch yourself just editing or holding back or people pleasing or wanting to edit, wanting to just show an image rather than be you, just take a breath and honor the awareness. Mm-hmm. Like, celebrate, wow, I woke up and I can choose something else. I can choose to just be me. Yes. I can throw out the plan and just be present and give myself that gift, and really give everyone that gift.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I love you so much.
I love you
too. Thank you so much. Everyone go check out Tina. She is, I didn't even actually, I read your bio last time, but
it's okay.
Tina's an angel therapist. She's a medium. She's a licensed spiritual teacher. She's a mastered IET and Kundalini teacher. She's just like everything that you want to learn from, grow from. You've been such a mentor for me, and really connecting to that higher realm, and also connecting with myself.
Oh, thank you.
And I love your weekly videos. They're just so powerful. They're always what I need to hear. And I know, and just reading all the comments of everyone listening, you're just serving so many people just by showing up and being authentic and real and raw. And I thank you for doing that and having the courage to do that, because it's so what we need. And I'm always healed by you doing that, and by receiving the magic that comes through you.
Thank you so much. It means a lot. Sometimes behind the scenes, I'm like, I go through my own process. Is it even reaching anyone, or like what? And then
it's like, it's anybody out there? Does anybody care?
But spirit and the angels are awesome in that, like, if I'm ever feeling that doubt, because I'm human and I go through those periods of like, where am I supposed to be? It's like that GPS system. I get
Yeah.
some kind of compliment, or not that I didn't need it, but sometimes we just need that nugget, like you said,
Absolutely. Yeah.
of someone that said, oh my God, this message is just so what I need. And then it's like, if I've helped one person,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Well, keep doing your work in the world. I know it's evolving into something
It is.
truly, truly beautiful because it's coming totally from you.
Right. I think that's what's scary, but then
Yeah.
that's why it's not completely here yet either. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like, okay, I'm just holding the space for that.
I'm with
We'll see.
you. And I just thank you for doing life with me.
Aw, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. We go so far back, and it's just so beautiful to just see the divinity in that,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. Uh, of,
You were so instrumental in such a really vulnerable time in my life, a really painful time when I could have just decided, and there were moments when I wanted to just say, screw this. I'm done. I can't do the spiritual thing anymore. Like I
right.
can't do the path. It's just, I just want to be in this gucky place and just be unaware.
Yeah.
But you really opened up so much healing and so much strength and so much wisdom in me, that I'm just forever grateful for, and helping me especially navigate through some of those like really dark moments.
And you helped me just as much, because I always remember saying, this is the kind of work I want to do. These are the kind of
Yeah.
sessions I want to have,
Yeah.
So it was like, we're always giving each other, there's always something there.
Yeah.
So it's amazing.
It's magical.
It is.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us. I'll have all the links below so you can check out Tina, and please do, because she is just amazing. And if you can receive a healing from her or learn from her, best investment I've ever spent. So,
Thank you.
yeah, it is still paying. It's, because it's the gift that I get to give now to others is truly awesome, and it's because of the work I did with you. So I just thank you. Everybody check her out and have a beautiful, wonderful, magical day. See you, everyone.